I'm Aaron Gallo.
I'm Marty Hogan.
And I'm Eric Berry.
And we're from the Starfleet Escape podcast. And you're listening to another great Four-Eyed Radio product. For more shows, check out foureyedradio.com.
Hey there, Eric here from Socially Awkward Studios, and this Four-Eyed Radio presentation is being proudly brought to you by Raven Designs, illustration and design that fit your personality. For samples and inquiries, visit ravencruise.com.
Hey everybody, welcome back to a very special episode of Appropriately Inappropriate. We're going to try and do this every so often, man. We usually come out with an episode every Sunday, as you all know. But we have a super awesome guest this week that's hilarious and cool and way interesting, so I wanted to put it out before Sunday. So if you listened to Sunday's episode with Sam Flieger, thank you. Hope you enjoyed it. He's a cool, interesting guy, funny comedian, and if you haven't listened to it yet, go back and listen to it. Let's see. Starting off right off the bat, Nancy is not here. She is in the mountains with Girl Scouts for 3 days. So, co-hosting with me, two-time guest, right?
Yeah, twice.
Chris Centanni. What's up, my man?
Nothing much, man. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. And our guest this week, Matt Storrs. My man, how are you?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
I'm well, thanks. So yeah, Nance is up north, raining and shit, awful.
Yeah, it's the true Girl Scout way.
Right?
To go out into the wilderness, survive off the land while it snows heavily.
Dude, I'm not kidding. I went to the grocery store today, and they still have Girl Scouts selling the cookies and stuff out in front of the grocery stores. And it couldn't have been more depressing. These three girls standing in front of the table, as everyone walked by, they'd be like, Girl Scout cookies, $4 a box. Just like that.
Yeah, it's because they haven't hit their sales quota yet. They're basically indentured servants until they hit their sales quota, what they said they were going to do. So, I mean, they brought it on themselves. They shouldn't have had such high expectations of themselves.
It looks like mom and dad is buying 100 boxes the day before.
That's what they do anyway. Mom and dad have to buy 100 boxes.
Dude. Oh, I don't like Girl Scout cookies. Do you guys?
I like Samoa's, and they have one that it's like a lemon with powdered sugar on it. I like that one. And then frozen Thin Mints are amazing.
Yeah?
But lemon?
Yeah.
I've literally never had the lemon one. I've never even seen it.
Yeah, it's not very popular, I don't think.
It's the obscure one. It's the secret menu.
Yeah, it's secret menu Girl Scout.
All right, before we get going with everything, let's see. Follow me on Twitter, @Kevin_Elliott. Show dates that you can see me at. Let's see. Ring off a couple. March 7th is a Saturday. In the Taffy Room, the Bad Romance Show, where we tell a story about bad romance, and they want me to tell a particular story that I've only told a few times, so I don't want to tell it, but I told them I would.
You have to.
I know.
You're obligated.
March 12th at Monkey Pants with Brant Tobler and Joe Bryan. March 13th in Tucson. For all my Tucson friends, we are at Sinatra's Hideout. And that show's at 9:30, me and Brant Tobler. And then, Comedy on Fire at the end of March. I don't know what date that is.
It's the 27th.
Thank you. And so I'll be on that with a bunch of people, right? Are you guys doing it?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
No.
No?
No. I always forget to
Nicoletti was like, there's 35 comics on it.
That's usually how it is.
Somebody will drop out by
I'll
the...
just show up. I'll just show up.
Good.
Can I have somebody go
Can I
home
have,
so I can have
Kevin's
a spot?
Yeah, dude, you can. And then again, April 2nd through the 5th, man, Stand Up Scottsdale with me, Johnny LaQuasto, and Grant Cotter. So that's me plugging away. I'm done. Centenni, your turn.
Dude, I don't even know. I haven't booked anything in so long.
Where can people follow you?
Let me think. Well, wait. Let me figure out the schedule. Because I was supposed to be on that show with the it was last week with the storytelling thing, and then it all fell apart. And they told me that they're gonna do another one. So just be on the lookout for that.
Okay.
No, they said it was going to be in 2 weeks. They were going to try and just do it again. So you can just follow me and then Chris Centanni, Centanni. It's just my name, and it'll be there.
Cool. All right,
cool.
Matt?
Tons of stuff. First, follow me on the social media accounts at MT Storrs, and Storrs is spelled Storrs. And then in terms of upcoming stuff, every Tuesday I do Copper Comedy at Copper Blues Tempe, right next to the Tempe Improv. Then every Thursday I do Pep Rally at Lawn Gnome Publishing in I don't know, that's weird, in downtown Phoenix. And next week is an interesting week because we're also doing it for First Fridays because we missed a date. So on First Fridays, we're doing Pep Rally Geology. So it's going to be basically me on stage for 4 hours, which is going to be a lot of fun. Then I think I'm on, Bikini Lounge on the 14th. Then, what is that? I'm doing Comedy Avengers on the 20th. Along with Storyline at Space 55, in which I'm telling a story about buying a homeless schizophrenic man dinner. Then on the 27th, I'm on the Total Class at Stand Up Scottsdale, and then Comedy on Fire as well. And then to round out the month, I have the Storrs Objection on March 28th at Space 55.
Okay. Tell us about those shows that you run. Copper Comedy we've talked about on the show before, so I think our audience is kind of familiar with it. But what about like the Pep Rally show and the Storrs Objection?
Yeah, for sure. Let's see. Pep Rally is Phoenix Educational Programming, and it is basically a variety show with me and Hattie Jean Hayes as the hosts. And we basically come up between each act and fact-check them, banter, fill time, whatever we have to do. And it's pretty great because we get, like Andy Warpigs is there every week, other local bands and musicians. We get poets, we get storytellers, we get comedians. Last night we had, 3 comedians on the show, and it was amazing. We also had a homeless man jump over the wall and try and steal a bus. Yeah, it was a fun show in a lot of ways. So that's Pep Rally, and let's see, Storrs Objection. Occasionally, when I was learning how to host shows, I was told that the best way to do it is just do what you do when you're talking to comedians during other people's sets on stage after the comedian. And what I tended to do was, point out all the bad things that comedians were doing on stage and all of the inaccuracies and assumptions they were making. So I started doing that, saying it's, fact-checking, whatever. Steve Merrick and Jamie Sanderson thought it was kind of a cool idea, and they're like, do you think you want to do a show? And I'm like, yeah, that'd be great. So we contacted Bill Binder of the Torch Theater, and we started doing the Storrs Objection, and now it's a monthly show every last Saturday of the month.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You have fun with it?
Oh, yeah, it's really great.
Yeah?
It's really great. It's very interesting to see where some of that stuff can go, because we ask the comedians to write all brand new material, and because what we found, like when the first time we did it, was nobody wanted to do their own material, because the whole point of the show is just to rip apart their material. So we're like, that we probably should just give them prompts. We'll give just really random things, like things we can research and stuff like that, and just interject with unbelievably random things. So it's fun.
That is cool. Where did you? I always ask this question every week, but it's like, how did you get into comedy? Not how did you start, like, my first time out here, but what really got you into comedy as a kid or anything around that inspired you to like it?
Gallagher and Sinbad.
No, get out of here.
Yeah, I watch Gallagher and Sinbad it's not just Gallagher and Sinbad, but those are the two that stick out the most. And Kids in the Hall.
That was a great show.
Yeah. So I was basically, when I came home from school each day, it was 3 o'clock or whatever. Kids in the Hall was always on Comedy Central for an hour-long block right there.
How old are you?
I am 27.
Wow, you're so young.
I know.
You're 27?
I am, yeah.
I'm 27. How can we possibly be the same age?
Oh,
well,
match
there's
your lives, and guess what? I'm 34, and I'm jealous of both of you.
Well, these are life choices we all make,
Holy
that get us
cow.
to these points. But yeah, so watch that, and then stand up back then, like they basically Comedy Central wasn't making a lot of money, so they didn't have a lot of great stand-up, like really diverse stuff. It's kind of stuff from the 80s and the early 90s. So it was Gallagher, like a 2-hour block of Gallagher, and then Sinbad. And so I was like, oh, I think I could do this. If they can do this.
Yeah. Sinbad's actually really good.
Oh, yeah, he's super good.
But Gallagher's like, I could do that, dude.
I could do that. I think I could. Those are not.
I could ruin the front row of the audience's day.
I think I can do that. And then when I was in school, I always was doing, I was trying to, I wasn't like I was made fun of. I was overweight, everything. And I would.
You were?
Yeah, I was overweight.
You're so underweight now.
I know. I have body dysmorphia, so I think I'm like way overweight.
Means, but...
I think that I'm fatter than I am.
Really?
Yeah.
I know I'm fatter than I think I am.
All right.
We're opposites, dude. I used to be way thin. Like 10 years ago. Well, yeah, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I've been fat for about 10 years now. Little less.
So that's a milestone.
Dude, athletic as shit, dude. It was weird. Anyways, enough about my ruined life.
On a lighter note, so I was always trying to act out and stuff like that, but I was then told that I wasn't very good at it, because if somebody would take my idea or whatever and be funnier about it, or I would overact and people would be like, he's trying too hard. And so I started doing a lot of voices and impressions because I realized not a lot of people can do that. And, started doing some acting stuff in school. In middle school, I listed, what do you want to do when you get older? I wrote stand-up comedian.
Awesome.
So that was cool. I don't remember a lot of what happened in my middle school. A lot of that is repressed now. But I have that textual indication. Also in that, this is great, because it also asks, what's your favorite song? And I wrote Maxwell's Silver Hammer by the Beatles. So it's like, oh, he wants to be a stand-up comedy or comedian, or he's going to be a serial killer. So it's one of the two. I think that we're working towards the stand-up comedy one.
Or successfully both.
Or successfully both. You don't know. I think there was a guy that was a stand-up comedian serial killer. I think I read something like that.
Oh, God. All those jokes about murder, but nobody got it.
Yeah, nobody got it. It's so strange. Unexpected. And, so then let's see. In high school, I didn't do a lot of acting or anything like that because I was playing sports. And then in college, started doing comedy when I was 18. And then stopped doing it for a while and started doing it again when I was 21, 22.
Yeah, where are you from?
I'm from Phoenix.
Everybody's from fucking Phoenix.
Yeah.
Which makes sense, we're here.
Yeah.
What college did you go to?
ASU.
Okay, so then, first of all, actually, let me get back to what sports did you play in high school?
I played football, and I threw discus and shot put in track.
Whoa.
Yeah.
What's that like throwing a discus? Is it like a frisbee but heavier?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Nailed it, all right.
If you were to throw the frisbee with your pointer and middle finger and release it from your the little joint, that's not the knuckle. What's the joint? Not the knuckle.
Pre-knuckle?
Pre-knuckle? Your pre-knuckle?
Pre-knuckle.
I like it. You release it from the pre-knuckle, and goes. And actually, when I was doing it, one of the best players on our football team was also doing track, and he got hit in the ankle by a discus because he was messing around and fractured his ankle. So he was he had to rehab all summer, everything like that. And he had gotten a scholarship to a Division III school, and it was in doubt then because he had done that. It's you kind of brought that on yourself.
How heavy is a discus?
I think it's all in kilograms because they want to make it difficult. But I think it's approximately 2 to 3 pounds, something like that. But the weight is dispersed in such a way where it's heavy in the middle and it's lighter on the sides.
What's the furthest you threw both discus and shot put?
Shot put, I was absolutely horrible. I didn't understand.
Never left the mat.
No, dude, I almost dropped a shot put on my fucking head. On my head.
Behind me one time.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Well, no, literally, I had there's a warm up in shot put where there's a lip on the shot put ring, and you stand with the balls of your feet on it, and you granny throw it basically. And I slipped out from under myself and it flew further past my head, but like I didn't know where it was. You know what I mean? I didn't know how effective I was, and I was like, "Cool, I'm gonna die. My coach is gonna get fired. This is horrible." And I think after that happened, I was never gonna be good at shot put. I'm not really good with dealing with catastrophic events.
What position did you play in football?
I was a I was offensive and defensive lineman.
You were?
Yeah.
You must have been fat as fuck.
Yeah, the heaviest I was 225.
Oh, yeah, nah.
That's not that bad.
It's nothing.
Yeah.
That's when I was like my lightest.
Centanni was born at 225.
In high school,
Yeah.
I was like 225. I'm getting a little slim. All right.
No, I like these deltoids. This is great.
Wow, holy cow.
Just give me the extra large. Dude, this feels great.
Yeah,
That's
this
all I
is wonderful.
need.
I like how it fits my curves.
So, all right, so cool. You go to ASU. You do comedy the first time, take a few years off. What transpired in between?
Well, I just couldn't really do it anywhere. The only place I was doing comedy was JJ's Cantina, and I was doing that every single week, not writing anywhere near as much as I should have, or knowing how to write, really. And so I just stopped doing it, and just focused on, getting my degree and my minors, all that stuff. And then once I was getting close to graduating, I realized, like, okay, I have no idea what I'm going to do after school. It's the middle of the recession. Okay, I'm going to go to graduate school. Don't really want to go to graduate school. What can I do to make my life more bearable? Oh, I'll do stand-up comedy again. That was a lot of fun. I had kept writing down like ideas and everything that I got because I was a creative writing major, and it was like, this is all gold. I'm eventually going to be able to use this. And so I was able to go through that and start building a set from that.
Creative writing is a major?
Yeah, it's English. It's a subsection of English.
Fuck, dude. I should have done that.
Yeah, you messed up. Dude, I got screenwriting.
You do? That's your major? That's what your degree's in?
Yeah, it's an even more limited major than creative writing. I can only creatively write in one medium. That's what I told everybody.
There you go.
That's great. Dude, that work sounds fantastic. Mine's marketing. I had to, literally do work. It sucked.
Yeah, that sounds like it sucked.
Yeah. I didn't know that this other stuff was an option.
Yeah.
So, but you're a lawyer now, right?
I am, yeah.
So your day job is like this fancy pants attorney that just gets people out of jail.
No, not really. Not really. I am the type of attorney that picks up lunch. You don't have to cover your lap. It's fine. And
paying dues.
Yeah, paying
My
dues.
sister's an attorney. She's done all that shit.
Yeah, exactly. Doing that, sorting mail, getting asked by more senior attorneys what arguments you can make in this case, and basically saying, well, I think that this might be an issue, and then basically saying, no, we have no case, and good try. But
what kind of what law does the firm you work for do?
Criminal law.
That's so cool, dude.
Yeah, so we do criminal. I was doing family law for 6 months, and I've done some work with some corporations and stuff, doing some e-discovery stuff, which is really fun. If you'd like to talk about e-discovery, I would love to not talk about that.
Probably another podcast.
Yeah, probably. There's probably an e-discovery podcast out there.
All right, so, but you're still in stand-up comedy, and you're doing it, and you're really super funny at it, too, and you're great. From when you first started, you were 18, 19 years old, to now, and I guess even getting back into it when you were 21, 22, how different was your first time up, or those first few times up in your writing and the material you used?
Oh, extremely different. Oh, extremely different. When I first started, I did, well, it's different. It's different and the same. I still like to start my set off making the audience kind of doubtful or confused, leading them one way and then saying, your preconceived notions are inaccurate. Sometimes actually saying that. Okay, but originally I would do the first part of my set in a Scottish accent. And just a couple jokes about being Scottish and how things are different in Scotland and in America, and it ended on a very misogynistic note. I've looked back at it recently, not so great, but I was 18, and now so then I would just switch out of it with no transition whatsoever and just do, a random joke or whatever. And it was a lot of fun. I don't know, but that's the biggest change is like I don't really do impersonations or accents or anything like that, I guess. It's still pretty irreverent.
Took out the Gordon McKay in my act.
Yeah.
That's the first guy I thought of.
Yeah.
He was the only Scottish guy we know.
Yeah.
I felt bad because he was like, he was Scottish and he was really misogynistic. I was like, oh, Gordon. And then
That's
I'm
Like I could probably give that joke to Gordon and it probably would sell pretty well, actually.
So anybody that doesn't know, Gordon McKay is a Phoenix comic who's from Scotland, and I would get him on the podcast, but you won't understand a fucking word he says.
We'd have to transcribe it.
His accent is so thick that, I mean, you can understand him on stage and stuff, but I just have a feeling it won't translate because he talks so fast.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, he does.
It's very animated. I love him more than anything.
Well, yeah. I feel like I feel bad painting him as a misogynist like 20 seconds ago. I'm like, oh, it reminds me of Gordon. He's trash.
He's a low-class individual.
Yeah.
Oh,
I love Gordon.
oh man.
guy.
So, that's so funny. Okay. So you get back in at like 22, whatever, right?
Yeah.
21, 22. Then do you just start hitting everywhere you can get up around here?
Yeah, I started doing, I'm pretty sure I annoyed people at the Hidden House because I was one of the guys that went to the Hidden House. Was like, oh, I want to do comedy. And just hanging out and like, then, like with anybody when they first start doing comedy, it's like, okay, yeah, I'll book you. You're not very good, but you have friends that come to my show. And that was not necessarily at the Hidden House, but like like tons of shows that were, very popular and are no longer in existence. And so basically, I just started getting up as much as I could. Started working at, once I started law school, I realized I needed a job. And I got a job at Stand Up Live as a server. And then got asked to do the Copper Comedy Show and started hosting and getting into even more. Because once you have the capital of running a show, it's a whole great level of like, oh yeah, sure, I'll do your show. I'm nowhere near qualified to do your show, but would you like to do my show? I guess. Yeah, all right, it works.
Well, and I've been told, I've never ran a room or a show, but I've been told that it's a great way to improve as a comic.
Oh yeah,
To get a room and run it, because you get up and you can do your set, and then you learn the improv in between sets. Like you were saying, in between comics, I can go up and still be me and do my stuff. And so to run a room like that, Copper Comedy is such a fun night.
yeah, it's
Tuesday
great.
nights are so great. I wish I could get there, but I never can.
Yeah.
But yeah, everybody listening, man, if you haven't gone, go, because it's a blast. What is it? Like the first hour is booked, right?
Yeah. And then it's a 10-person sign-up open mic after that.
Like a speed round, 3 minutes, which is
3 minutes.
perfect.
Yeah.
When you do and that's like in LA, guys. So when you do the 3 minutes, if they suck, it's short enough to where it's like, all right, cool, next person. And if they're really good, then it's like, oh, they went by so fast. I hope this next person's really good like that.
Yeah, and it's exciting, definitely. It's definitely. And I mean, then there's always the crazy people that come in, which is always great. It's always fun.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, like with any open mic, you get crazy people that come in because it's an avenue for, telling the crazy things that you're thinking on stage. So occasionally you'll just get people that are like either, like we've had people on like the really sad side of it being like somebody like with post-traumatic stress come on and be like, you're okay, well, you need help as opposed to you need to do comedy. And then it's like, then there's the people that are just like, just over the top, like probably unhinged, but you're putting stuff together in such a way that it's funny, but maybe not the way you want it to be funny. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's a interesting dynamic balancing everything out,
And the first part is how many comics in that first hour?
The first hour is, let's see, about 8 to 10 comics usually.
Okay, and they do like 7 minutes?
Yeah, it's
5 to 7?
we do 5-minute and 7-minute sets. So we get people that are either, we have about 4 people on the 5-minute and 4 people on the 7-minute. So people that like are more seasoned, more experienced, you'll get the 7. People that are trying out new stuff or like but still seasoned or just have been doing the speed round a lot. we'll move them into the 5-minute. And then sometimes, it'll be like, we want to get you on the 7-minute, but we just don't have enough space. And the thing is, it's a soft time limit. So, like, if people are doing really well, I will forget to light them. You know what I mean?
Purposely forget.
Yeah, purposely forget. So, but it works out well.
So, but running that part of the booked portion, because the sign up is a sign up. If you get there and you sign up, cool, you're on. If you're not, you're not.
Yeah.
But for the portion that's booked, how do you take it where comics ask you to be on it? Like, dude, I want to get on that, 5-7 minutes. Or do you just say, no, we just get in touch with you and we book it?
Oh, we have them email. It's coppercomedy@gmail.com. And I typically, we all have access. Roman, Grisby, Eric Baez, and myself all have access to the account.
Sorry, it's
It's
making
okay.
noise.
It's all right. It's all right. I forgive you.
I'm not being that subtle at all.
It's fine.
That's what I do.
It's good. It's an effective. I still got some left here. But yeah, so we have people email in, and basically our mentality is, if you can't email us, we're not going to be too worried about you getting on our show. You know what I mean? It's if you're out at our show and you're like, hey, let me get on, and like you've just had a great set. If I'm just if it's the middle of the month, I'm probably about to start booking for the next month.
Yeah.
So that's a good time, people that are listening, to come and talk to me if you really want to get on the show and you don't know how to use email. But otherwise, it's we'll post it on Facebook. I'll share it. The other guys will share it. I'll try and post it in all the subgroups for Phoenix Comedy, and we just try and do it through email.
Cool. Centanni, have you done it?
I've done it. I did it like 2 times when it was in Phoenix, and then I just did it, I think, early last month. Early January. It's fun, man.
It is fun, and the stage is awesome.
Yeah, it's
right
a great
up on
stage.
that bar, like behind it, but it's so cool.
The new one, I think, is better.
100%. The new one is better for comedy.
I haven't been to it. I don't know.
It's a smaller venue, and the bar isn't as far away from the audience, so like you can see the front couple rows of people, and you still have it. It's still raised and behind the the beer taps and everything, but it's just much better. The acoustics are much better. It's excellent.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so get off of comedy for a second.
Yeah.
You're a married man.
Yep.
How long have you been married for?
I have been married for less than a year. I'm going to be married for a year in May. So
whoa, cool.
Nice.
Congrats,
yeah,
man.
Thank you very much.
Less than a year.
Yeah.
Fuck, I feel like you've been married forever.
Why are you being so nosy?
I have no idea. I don't know. I've never even seen your wife. Does she come out to shows?
She'll typically come out to big shows. She's been recently, one of her resolute, that was burp, pardon me.
It's all good, man. We're men.
All right, cool. I like this men thing. Let's see.
I shit into the microphone 3 hours ago.
All right, I'm happy I have my glasses on. We're gonna protect from the pink eye. Oh, great. Okay. So yeah, no. One of her New Year's resolutions was to come out to more of my shows, which is translated to her coming out to like the storytelling shows and like pep rally shows. Because she has, like, when we first started dating and everything. Well, no, I started doing comedy again after we had been dating for a couple of years. So
you've been together for a while.
Yeah, we've been together for like 8 years.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
And
Nice.
yeah, it's been working out pretty well. And wait a second. Yeah, no, that's right. So she came out when I was really bad. And she came out a lot when I was really bad. So I kind of burned her out because she, I don't, a lot of people have writing partners, everything like that. She gets the, hey, I have a very minor change to my joke. I'm going to tell you it. What do you think about it? I'm sorry, I wasn't listening. What, Matt? That happens a lot. But
Dude, I've been there.
yeah, but yeah, she comes to really big stuff, and it's a balance. Like so, like I was just in San Francisco, so I was running through making changes to like a 20-minute set, and trying to like switch things around and trying to memorize it and being like, oh, I got this great new idea how I can make this joke better. And she's like, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that should be good, But she tends to enjoy it when she comes out.
Yeah. That's my next follow-up question. Really, is do you censor it when she's there?
Absolutely not.
Good.
Absolutely not.
Quick. I love it.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
Never.
Like occasionally when she's not there, like especially on what is it, like Thursdays especially, where it's a lot of improv in between people. So I occasionally will say stuff that is like very like personal and maybe not the thing you want people to know about my relationship, or like on Tuesdays occasionally I'll do the same thing. And, if it gets laughs, I'll go and write it down and, try and figure out how to formulate it into more of like an effective and normal joke as opposed to just like some random overshare I just had. And then I'll clear it by her and be like, hey, I said this thing, it was funny. Are you cool with me doing it? And usually she's fine with it so long as it's actually intelligent and not like, derogatory or anything like that, which it's usually not. But sometimes I get so excited. I'm like, oh yeah, this is great. And it's like, no, that's not great. That is blatantly stupid. And but it's good. Like one time I was at Comedy on Fire, I want to say last month, and her uncles were at the show. I guess she had shared the event on her Facebook, or no, it popped up because she had RSVP'd in their news feed, and they showed up, paid the admission or whatever it was, and we're just sitting there. We get there a little late. I go up, and one of my jokes is about her making out with one of her lady friends.
Oh, man.
So, I'm just, trying to avert my gaze from there, and she's just like, crumpling up and really uncomfortable. And it's like, well, I kind of committed to doing that, and it's going to work. So, too bad.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That is fair. All right, hold on one second. We got to pause for 1 second, so everybody contemplate on that thought, and we'll be right back. Okay, we're back. Sorry, everybody. It's so weird when you pause it, and you're like, hey, I got to pause, because they don't... It
to them, it's
right where
instantly.
You paused it.
Yeah.
That's why I wonder why you say anything. Just pause it.
I don't know. Guys, I had to take a dump. So, we're back where we left off, and you guys are like, where we left off was before you started muttering shit. So, Matty, not censoring himself in front of family.
Yep.
But as we stepped away, Chris,
yeah,
you ran into that situation.
I ran into it hard. Obviously, I think people know at this point that like my sets are almost designed to be the dumbest thing that I can do, and like they're usually sometimes pretty blue. And one time I was doing a show, and I was doing all these horrible jokes about like touching yourself and chicken wings and being drunk. And then
hopefully all together.
They actually were all together, under diarrhea and all kinds of horrible stuff. And when I got done with the set, like I found out that both my mother and my girlfriend's mother came to the show
without telling you.
Nobody gave me the heads up. Like,
just
hey,
walked in.
Yeah, go ahead. Think this through, Chris. So her mom was like, "That was really funny. Like it was completely out of control and inappropriate, but it was funny." And my mom was like, "That was pretty funny," but then a couple days later was like, "But I'm disappointed in you."
Oh God!
But like we need.
Did
to talk
she
about
really say
no,
that?
She really did. She was like, "I want to talk to you about a couple things." I'm like, "This is my life. Leave me alone."
Wow. Because I would say it's almost a good thing that you don't know they're there.
Oh, 100% it is.
Well, I don't know though. Here's the other side of that coin. Like my girlfriend's dad is much more like he was military, he's police. He's not out of control, strict or anything like that, but he's just not his vibe. So I was getting ready to do the 420s show, the 20 minutes set at Stand Up Scottsdale, and he walks up behind me and he's like, "Hey, I thought I'd come check you out."
And you didn't know he was coming.
I had no clue. And I'm like, "Oh, I need to PG-13 this right up." You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that set was incredible, dude.
Thank you. I was worried that it was going to be horrible because I had to rewrite it all before I got on stage.
Dude, you told three of one of like the best stories I've ever heard. They were so good.
I don't know. Thank you. Thank you. It was fun. I had a good time, but I was nervous and scared the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, that's for me. I don't get nervous in front of crowds. It doesn't matter how big or how small. But when I know people in the audience that aren't in the industry, so like friends, just regular friends or family or anything, that's when I get severely nervous. I've thrown up before a show.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Knowing that people are there. This is a long time ago, but knowing all these people were coming out to see me, and I was like, holy shit, like, they know me better than the audience, obviously.
Oh,
knows
100%.
me. So I've got to be even funnier than that. And I don't know if I could do that. My material I have is for people that don't know me. So I'm not going to make these people laugh at this shit. And I threw up. I was so nervous.
Man, that's rough life. Man.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, don't worry. I still got the check after the show. It didn't matter.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, that's all. Sometimes that's all that matters.
What's the worst show you've ever had?
Worst show I've ever done.
Yeah. Either bombing or just in general. Like, it was just a terrible setup.
Oh, man. There's been a lot of those. Let's see. The last show I did at JJ's Cantina was pretty bad. I had several people come up to me and like put their hands on my shoulder and be like, "It's okay.
Oh man,
it'll go better next time."
Oh my god.
Yeah, that was pretty atrocious. That's what you get when you do the same show for new comics. That's what you get when you do the exact same set 10 weeks in a row. Don't do that.
And on the 10th one, they're like, "Dude,
okay, you can stop.
trust me, it'll be all right.
It's going to be fine.
Eventually, you'll get better."
Eventually, you'll get better. Let's see. But then, other than that, I try to maintain a mentality where, like, as long as I do something good when I'm on stage, I don't count it as a bomb. So that kind of skews this. But there's been some shows. Oh no, yeah, I know exactly the show. Never mind. What came to mind? I did a show a while back for a college, and I was hired on, getting paid, flown out there, everything like that. And I asked them flat out, "Is there anything that you would feel uncomfortable with me talking about at the show?" And they're like, "No, it's fine. Just don't make fun of the school. You're going to be cool." Okay. Get there. They have a really big like ACLU, NAACP, all that stuff. And I'm like, okay, I have like 3 jokes that are kind of racially based, whatever. I'm not going to worry about it. If these people are smart people, is a good college, and they're going to get it.
ITT Tech, man.
Yeah, ITT Tech. These are people are on point. They're going to understand the words I used in my jokes, and they're going to get the fact that I'm not actually being racist. I'm actually just pointing out horrible things that happen in our society. They did not get that, and it went very bad. Like, jokes that are just like great jokes usually were oh god, really bad. But then it was out of the Midwest, so I made a joke about after my regular set was done, because I was supposed to do like 45 minutes. I made a joke about Ohio State, and it blew up, and everybody's like, "Oh yeah, Ohio State's horrible." And so it was good. Finished up the rest of my set, but then when I was waiting for my taxi to take me back to the hotel, people, actually, like girls, grabbed their dates and pulled them away from shaking my hand, saying, "No, his racial stuff was really inappropriate." I'm like, "No, it's not." I say no derogatory terms. I make light. Yes, I make light of the fact that De Beers basically is enslaving people in Africa, but that's the truth. De Beers is a horrible company, and we should not support the diamond industry.
And that's where the joke is.
Exactly.
It's the company. It's
De Beers should be pulling away handshakes. Not
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We should all unite and stop De Beers from this horrible stuff they do. But yeah, they did not take it that way, and so that was a weird experience for sure.
College? Have you done a college gig?
Well, like a paid real one?
Mm-hmm.
No.
They're the worst, man. You got to be careful.
They're really sensitive, so sensitive.
That's because everybody's there, like, finding themselves. You know, like,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to sound mean, but I really do. I think it's like if that's a period where people are like, I'm going to be super aware and cool for the rest of my life.
Yeah, but
That's
you
when I
need
became a
to,
feminist.
because you get the
Sounds
money.
good.
Yeah.
Listen, you start getting college gigs and you see the money. You're like, yeah, I'll do that. You're gonna fly me out. I'm gonna get a paycheck to do comedy. Fuck yeah, I'm gonna do it. And you don't ask any questions. Fucking ask questions.
I always ask as many questions as possible.
Because you'll get there and they'll pick you up. They'll be like, I'll pick you up at noon. We'll head over. We'll show you the campus, and the show's at like 1 in the afternoon.
Yep,
and
everything's
you're
well lit.
following, yeah, it's in like the main cafeteria where you're following some philanthropist trying to get signatures. And it's like, and our comedian for the month. It's like, hey, I can't wait to eat shit for the next 45 minutes.
Oh, it's always great when
That's
you're
the worst.
Yeah, you're following up somebody that's talking about like, the horrible, just unequal treatment of human beings in the judicial system. Now our comedian has a number of things to discuss with you. Have
They're
fun with
not
that.
all like that, though. I mean, occasionally you get the great ones. That's like at night in their auditorium, and it's like, oh, this is the greatest show ever. You just got to ask questions, dude. Don't fuck yourself.
Like,
but then you get that paycheck. It's like, oh, it's like a couple grand. Yeah, I'll fucking take it.
Well, this is the thing. It brings me back to what you were saying, like that you became a feminist in college.
Yeah.
That's what that's like my worst fear is not being a feminist. I'm sure that's a good cause. It really is. I'm about it. But I'm always afraid that like I'm gonna have to follow a hardcore feminist lecture, or I'm gonna have to follow some really racially based thing, and then I'm literally just like all across the board the enemy.
Right.
I'm like a middle class, straight white male. No matter what I follow, unless it's another middle class straight white male, I'm the enemy. So
You just talk about those gas station hot dogs. Y'all good, man.
that's why I'm such like that's why I'm foul.
It's so
Because I'm
funny.
like, we can all deal with this.
Yeah,
And
we've
then we
all
don't have to look
experienced
at
this.
me. We don't have to look at who I am.
Yep.
All right, what's the greatest show you've ever done?
Well, let's see. Probably the greatest show. Okay, I'm going to say the greatest moment until I can think of the greatest show. The greatest moment is I have a joke. Can I do a joke? Like,
You
it's
can do
just
whatever
straight
you
up?
want,
Okay,
man.
cool. So I have a joke. I have a problem with mixed race couples that own purebred dogs.
I've heard that. It's
Yeah.
so funny.
It just doesn't seem right to me. So I did that joke at Bobby Johnson's The Lighthouse, one of the Saturday night shows they were doing there, Friday night shows. And somebody clapped when I said I have a problem with mixed race couples.
Oh man!
And it was 2.5 minutes of me just laying into that person. It was a white girl, like right up front.
Holy shit.
And it was just me, just being like, thank you for serving up something I can talk about for the rest of my life.
Yeah, holy cow, dude! What are you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing?
I agree.
I agree, absolutely.
Hell yeah!
Oh
Jeez.
my god! Wow, I've had something so similar to that. Where I've only told this joke like 3 or 4 times. So the fact that it's happened, where I go, I really miss 9/11, and then somebody was like, "Yeah," I was like,
What? What are you doing?
This is 9/11. The joke is what I'm like. I should say literally the follow up is I miss 9/11. And just to get the wow, like what? And then I go, what I should say is I really miss 9/12. Because that's when everyone was really nice to each other in America.
Yeah.
Excuse me, but yeah, when she was, whoa, like, whoa.
Yeah, what are you
I don't
doing?
even know what to do with that. That's too much.
Yeah.
Dude,
Not
holy cow.
What did she think I was going to go off on?
Yeah, where were you taking that?
Planning this on being my last set and last day of life ever. I'm going to go just rag on America for the next 10 minutes.
Seriously.
Dude,
man.
it was weird. Yeah, I haven't done that joke. Actually, I don't really do that joke ever, but it's so stupid. What about you? Best show of all time?
Okay, I know what it is. The best show of all time. It was one of those New Faces shows, and I was scared shitless before I went up. Like I was shaking because I'm like, dude, I don't know if this crowd's gonna like my bit. I don't like.
You
know,
think that all the time.
I know that. So
That's a good thing to think, though.
yeah, so I'm like, God,
It
I don't know if
is?
they're gonna.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why?
Because
Hold on, Chris, we'll get back to this.
Yeah, it keeps the fear alive. You have to keep, like, if you're not afraid when you go out on stage, then this is my experience, but if I'm not afraid when I go out on stage, that's the moment I know that I've planned too much and it's not going to seem as natural. Like I'm very like straight lace, like I'm a robot, whatever, I'm telling jokes. But when I know every little thing that I'm going to say and like planned audience interaction, anything like that, I think it takes away from stuff. But if I'm afraid when I go out there and I know, like later on after my set, I'll probably have done something that I didn't plan on doing, like told a joke I didn't want to. But the set will always be better because of it, because it's more natural. But I still.
Okay, what about the confidence factor? Like
Confidence! I'm still confident in what I'm going to do because I know I know my jokes. I know everything like that. I know that if I get to a point where I don't, like, I've had shows where there's been a minute where I've been thinking like of what joke I'm supposed to do next.
Yeah.
But I know that if at the very least I'm going to throw something out there or do some like really uncomfortable audience interaction that some people in the audience will laugh at and it'll remind me of something.
Sure. Okay, your style of comedy is way different than mine, and of Chris's. Chris, you're more of a storyteller, comedian. I'm more of bits, not joke kind of thing. But you're more of like not the one-liner, but you hit a joke and then you go to the next joke.
Yeah,
joke.
The longest joke I have is like a minute long, if that.
Yeah, and so I would be nervous as fuck. I can't do what you do.
Yeah,
that's why I don't do it. I can't.
Yeah, I mean the 20 minutes that I did in San Francisco the other day, I did. Well, I probably didn't do 41 jokes, but I planned on doing 41 jokes.
Yeah.
So,
to me, that's insane.
Yeah.
You tell me you got 20 minutes, I'm like, all right, what 4 stories can I bust through or like bits
That's
can
exactly
I do?
what I did, remember? It was like 20 minutes, and I was like, I just put on a note card. I just put 3 topics, like my 3 jokes.
Yeah.
3. I have 3 jokes for 20 minutes.
Yeah, that would be great.
I think this is cool, man. And we're finding out right now. We're fucking 45 minutes in. We got a joke writer, like a legitimate joke writer. You write jokes. We got a storyteller in Chris, and we got a bit teller in me, which are 3 completely different comics.
Absolutely.
We all do our own different things, but it works. So what I want to know is, first of all, Chris, why are you afraid? But I understand what you're saying, Matt, too, is like if you're not afraid, because Chris Rock says it too, where he said, I'm nervous every time. If you're not nervous, then what are you doing here? You're not prepared. Like, or it wasn't prepared. It was something like, then you don't love what you're going.
Yeah, you're not passionate or something like that. Yeah.
Yes, that's the word. Thank you, passionate. Like I get nervous still, but I don't get afraid. I get anxious and nervous, and then I'm confident. Like, dude, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna kill these people.
Yeah.
With my bits.
Well, good thing you ended that.
I'm just going to kill these people. If they don't laugh,
you're the serial killer comedian we've been looking for.
I'm the last person they see when they leave the club. I'm going to slice their throat as they walk out. But
interesting, you should say that. We'll come back to that later.
All right. So, Chris, let's get back to you so you can finish up here with
okay.
You're afraid.
Yeah, because it is, and it's like, I'm glad you put it that way, because it is almost like a fear, like a legitimate fear, because I realize when I go out, like my bits aren't short, and there's nothing really to like immediately bail into. So I kind of just start out by like digging a hole. That's what I have to do. And like if they're not buying it, it's really hard to just be like stop a story and jump into something else.
Right.
So that's what I get really nervous before I walk out.
And that's true. So then, Matt, to come back to you, since you're doing jokes so quickly, if a joke doesn't work, you can go right to the next joke and hope that doesn't work. But at some point in your career, there has to have been a time, because every comic has gone through it, where you've done joke, and gotten nothing. Now, how do you build yourself out of it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's part of like me saying like excellent or all right after my joke does it. I just naturally started reacting to the audience's reaction.
Okay. Like a defense mechanism almost.
Yeah. And, kind of like some people I've had people describe my set as like a deposition. Like I am going to give you a ton of information about these things, especially in the first part of it, is going to be about this topic. And then it kind of goes like, it's kind of absurd in a lot of ways, but then it starts getting more and more off the rails as I my topics don't have transitions anymore.
Right.
Or I don't even know if any of them do, but when stuff isn't working, and stuff keeps going on, that's like, for instance, the mixed race thing. That's how that came up. Is my brother actually sent me the idea behind the joke, and then working it into a set was, okay, I've not gotten laughs for 5 minutes or for 2 minutes or whatever it was. I feel comfortable with you guys. And people will laugh at that because I'm making, you just make light of the discomfort in the audience.
Yeah.
And I try and do that. And it tends to work.
It's not weird to me. It's interesting to me that, how would you describe not your comedy but your style? Is it a one-liner? It's not, because it's not as quick as it's not one line, move on.
Yeah. I'd say it's no, it's all right. It is more. It's like I don't know. Like people will call it like Metropolitan was the thing that a drunk woman once told me.
She titled the whole style of comedy
as Metropolitan. I'm not sure what that
great.
is.
I don't know what that means.
Neither do I. Neither do I.
I call a lot of one-liner comics two-liner comics because it isn't one line they're giving.
Right.
They give a line and then a punchline after.
Right.
It's 2 lines. So that's what I call it, and people are like, "What's a 2-line comic?" Like,
yeah, I mean, and I do kind of adhere to that structure in a lot of ways. Like things will be 3 to 4 lines, but I still like build things out to knowing like the second line might be funny, but the next line builds it a little bit more and should get it to the conclusion. So it's still kind of like that, but it's very it's structured, I guess.
Yeah.
It's intended to be structured, but at the same time, it's kind of irreverent and kind of in the alt comedy sort of thing of saying like I will do a thing about my wife making out with another girl or whatever. And then I'll start talking about, a horse that drowned in a swimming pool or something like that. You know what I mean? Just like it jumps around, and hopefully the fact that it jumps around so widely gets laughs in and of itself.
Yeah.
It's like that's so absurd that somebody would do that and not even pay attention to the fact that, some people will say like, oh, I don't have a transition there. I don't have a transition there. I didn't know. I still don't really know how to build transitions, and I refuse to do it. Like I've read books to learn how to like make things work. But to me, a transition sentence is in a lot of ways a wasted sentence on my set.
Yeah.
And like people will catch on to the fact that I'm just moving from idea to idea, and it's so long as I try and keep the ideas fairly similar. Mm-hmm. It works out.
My question. That's my question is.
Yeah.
Well, I was always going to say, I think your style, if I was like naming it, I would just say it's like an absurd narration.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I
because
like
it's like,
makes sense.
to me, when I listen to you, things just go in my head. Like when I tell a story, because I tell stories, so I go from point A to point B, and I visualize it as I tell it. And I'm hoping that's what other people are doing. So when I visualize your jokes, it becomes like this hilarious just montage of absurdity.
That makes a lot of sense because a lot of times I'll think of my set as like a PowerPoint presentation, which is weird. Yeah, like I've always been like, if I could get a PowerPoint behind me, I think I would do a lot better during my sets if I had like a clicker, because it is in a lot of ways. It's like a presentation. It's a deposition.
I can see it now, man. Your hour comedy special. Dimitri Martin with that stencil and the easel, dude.
That's low. Yeah, I'll do a PowerPoint. I put this together. This is great. Might even put in some word art. That'd be great.
That's what I always thought of it as.
But Chris, so in the same sense, where Matt doesn't segue. You don't have the transitions. You just go from one joke to the next. And that was my question that was going to follow, was do you have the transitions, but not necessarily. And when you're that kind of comic, you don't need it to be, and you really don't want it to be.
Yeah.
Because then it turns into some odd, weird story. We're like, what's he getting at? You're not getting at anything. You already told the joke.
Right.
But Chris, when you put together a set with your stories, are you doing transitions where one story somewhat relates to the next?
Usually, I used to do that a lot. When I first started doing it, that's how actually big, huge bits got built. Because I would tell a story about this and a story about this and a story about this. And I realized, oh, you know what? I could just kind of change the setting and stitch these together. But for me now, I just kind of like, it sounds dumb, but they're all just kind of linked, like thematically, as in like, what a mess. Like, this is a joke. You know what I mean? I just link them by like what a train wreck this is.
With your stories, and be honest,
Okay.
is anything embellished?
I'm trying to think here. There are things that are embellished or less so embellished, more so like it really didn't happen in that same.
Oh yeah, that's how you have to do it with storytelling.
Right. Like I like the Dungeons and Dragons joke that I tell, like
which is one of the greatest stories.
Well, like
the way you tell it, dude, is so funny. I told you, vocabularily speaking, if that's a word, the words you choose to say in that story make the story.
I'm glad. I never really like that part's hard. That I just go with. I just keep writing until it flows well for me.
Yeah.
But it's like the Dungeons and Dragons stuff, and then the stuff that later in the bit that happens at work. Those were two separate guys. One guy wanted me to play Magic the Gathering, and I just said no. But I was like, but I'm going to stitch those things together. So it's embellished in the sense that they didn't all happen right at the same time, but they all did happen.
Yeah, and embellishing is fine. Everybody, all the listeners, not every comic that you hear, 99.8% of comics embellish their stories. The story is what it is, and the gist of it is legitimately 100% true, but there is a part of it that has to be embellished because it's entertainment.
Oh, 100%.
If it's literally 100% what happened, there's going to be a lull there where it's like, this isn't funny. You have to add to it.
Yeah, I mean...
But you don't go crazy where,
Right.
Like you said, you just put two people together.
Right.
That's exactly what
you combine characters.
Exactly. Like Maddie, what guys do you look at now, or even when you were coming up, that you kind of patted yourself around, or looked up to, or inspired you?
Like in locally or
no, anybody.
I mean, I really like Bonnie McFarland when I was younger, and still now. But then like anybody that does my style of comedy, I think Mitch Hedberg, Dimitri Martin, Stephen Wright. They're the trifecta.
Who's the best out of those three?
In what way?
In your opinion.
That's a really messed up question.
Hell yeah, it is.
I
ask the hard stuff here.
Yeah, it's the cutting journalism that we need in this world. I'd say Stephen Wright, because the other two, if you really want to break stuff down, you want to go into let me point out my glasses. I'll tell you what this means. You're gonna get the basis of it of being Stephen Wright saying, I'm gonna just do something that's unbelievably funny and move on to the next thing, and I think that with that one-liner kind of dynamic of having just really strict and effective writing, he's the best at that.
Of those three, who do you think you're closest to?
I'd say I was closest to Dimitri Martin.
I would too. Cool.
Yeah, and that's actually somebody was telling me that somebody decided to generalize Phoenix comedians and what style or what famous comedian they were or whatever, and like, oh yeah, Matt Storrs, he's the Phoenix Dimitri Martin, And
it's a hell of a compliment.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, it's great. I wish I could draw anywhere near as well as he could.
With both hands.
Yeah, with both hands. That would be so great because, like, I think that would help. But no, yeah. But nonetheless, I think that's accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Hedberg was great, but I think Stephen Wright is number one.
Yeah.
And Dimitri Martin he's a little bit different style. I mean, he's very much like your style.
Yeah, and I mean, like, the thing is, like, it's like the stuff that Dimitri Martin does and stuff that I do. It's in that alt. If you're going to do the Venn diagram, whatever, it's in the alt comedy section. You know what I mean? It's not a lot of people, like, they see it and it's like, oh, I don't like that. That's uncomfortable. But once you get into it and you understand the kind of the stuff going behind it and just like listen to what's going on, it's really funny. You can get behind it. So I definitely get that. Another person that I just absolutely love growing up to this day is Arj Barker.
I love Arj, dude.
Yeah, one of my favorites for sure.
So good.
Yeah.
Here's that bit about wearing the vests, the jacket vests. And he was like, why does anybody wear those?
Yeah.
He's like, it keeps your torso warm, but your arms are freezing as fuck. It's like, it's so funny. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have brought it up.
That's
No,
because
it's
you saw
good.
Batman Begins. So you know how to keep them both warm, remember?
Yeah.
You guys remember
Yeah.
when he's like, rub your chest because your arms are warm? Come on, man. Just saying.
I'll have to rewatch it.
Yeah,
I'm
you will.
sorry.
Because it'll make that bit not funny anymore. Because you'll be like, well, I know why.
All right. Sorry, I love Arch. Arch is a great guy. All right. Excuse me. God, I can't stop coughing, dude. My son got me sick, and I'm fine now. You guys aren't going to get it. It's been a while.
That's fine. I don't get sick.
You don't ever?
No. Almost. I'm sick for at most a day or two out of the year.
Oh, dude, you're catching AIDS after this.
Probably.
And I'm sorry to have to tell you.
I wouldn't be surprised. Autoimmune disorders.
Surprised. That's fucking around so much. He's like, I wouldn't be surprised, man.
I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know.
I don't do heroin, but I do find needles on the ground that I just put in my body.
I have stepped on some very dangerous things in my life.
Like what?
Well,
A
like
rusty nail? I've done that.
yeah, absolutely. Rusty nail.
Oh, absolutely. What are you?
Yeah.
Where are you
Yeah.
living? That is just around the house. Yeah,
You're
rusty
both
nails.
freaking me out.
Well,
He's
no, I
ready
like
catch
to walk.
AIDS. Like it's a fish. Like, you're just going to catch
Just
it.
get a catcher. It's just going to come up
Lure it in.
You've never seen the AIDS fish?
Yeah.
Dude,
My
it's all
bad.
red.
It's
blood
everywhere.
cells. It's crazy.
everywhere. Yeah, I didn't have a car till like I was 23, 24. So I walked basically everywhere, took public transportation everywhere. So yeah, I've stepped on some things that I am not proud of
Wow, a
stepping
homeless
on.
person?
Well, not directly.
Damn it.
I stepped on his blanket. He wasn't pleased with that. But
It was an AIDS quilt.
I do not have the information to confirm or deny that.
I tell a joke and I laugh harder than anybody else. It's so embarrassing.
It's all right.
It's so embarrassing.
I'm laughing on the inside.
No, you're not.
Yes. Well, no, I am. I'm
I
just.
know why you want Matt to have AIDS.
You know what? I don't. But I do want to know somebody that has it.
Yeah,
you
I
know?
do know that I don't have the genetic.
Where's Ryan White?
Yeah, right.
Jeez.
Right? Long pull. He's been gone for a while.
But yeah, so that's good.
All right. What are your opinions on open mics? Because you run one.
Yeah.
Chris, you've been to some. So, and my question is from this. We see a lot of people go to open mics and do the same material over and over and over again. And you said it. You went to one 10 times in a row,
Yeah.
did the same material 10 times in a row. Now, I understand it from a young comedian's perspective.
Right.
You go and you do it and you're working on your first 5 minutes, dude. I mean, that's
Right.
like your 5 that you're going to bank on. But when you see somebody that's been doing it for even 1 year plus,
Yeah.
are you looking for something different from them every time?
Well, I mean, my mentality behind it and like trying to run the show, trying to figure out what people are doing is like if you're coming every single week and doing the exact same stuff and not trying anything new, like I think it makes sense to have a set where 5-minute set, let's say. The first 2 to 3 minutes is established material that you're comfortable with. It makes people are going to laugh at this. And then the last couple minutes is stuff that you're working on, you're trying to figure it out. That's completely fine. But like when you're doing a 5-minute set that is exactly the same every single week, though, like if you've been out of comedy for a while, I can understand that you're trying to get the timing down, you're trying to figure out where all the stuff is. Or if you're planning on doing like a contest or a competition or you have a big show coming up, okay, I can understand that. But I mean, if you're not trying to actively do something new and trying to, push yourself in a new direction, and sometimes, like a lot of times, like I'll have goals for myself when I go on stage of like I want to be, more natural or interact with the audience a little bit better, do something like that. But I'll still do the same 5-minute set that I did 2 weeks ago. That's fine. If I accomplish that goal and I try and do that stuff, that's cool. But I think that a lot of I don't think that every comedian is as mindful of that when they're doing the 5-minute set. It's like I just want to do that 5-minute set, and you're burning your capital if you do a 5-minute set 4 weeks in a row with the same place, you know?
Yeah. I like that you said, because I agree with you, you start off with like the 2.5 minutes of material that you know kind of works, and you get people laughing, because then you get a real true estimate of where you can build after that.
Right.
There's times where I go up straight cold. I got 5 new minutes. I'm literally doing just 5 brand new minutes of material. And I do it, and I try and get a good judge, but sometimes, and as shitty as it's to say, I almost base it off of the person in front of me.
Right.
Where it's like, hopefully they did well so I can get a true guide of what this is. Because if they've just bombed for 5 minutes, I'm going to go up and try new material that I know isn't going to crush. There's no way. If it does, then I faked everybody out and myself.
Right.
But it's like, I want that true grade. So if you make them giggle and laugh hard enough, and then you work in, you sprinkle your new stuff in. And I've even done it in longer sets where I got 20, 30 minutes, 45 minutes. When I do something like that, I will work new stuff in.
Oh, yeah.
But you do it in pockets. You know, we have the luxury of doing that when we have a set like that.
Right.
You do it in pockets that you get a judge at it and different, I guess, tags, right?
Yeah.
For your jokes. But Chris, I would think it'd be fucking so hard for you to do an open mic with stories.
It is. But I mean, it is in the sense that it's like I kind of have to commit to one arc for the whole 5 minutes sometimes. Yeah. But that's and that's where like I am different. Like sometimes I'll be like, oh my God, I've done the same premise for like 2-3 weeks now, but I'm trying a new thing within the story. So it's kind of like the skeleton is set.
Yeah.
Right, and that's really on point. It's all about the skeleton and changing it up within it.
I get caught in that too because I have so much material about being a single dad and my son.
Yeah.
But I go up at the open mics and I work on different aspects of it. So it's like, all right, we're hearing the same shit, but you're not. You're hearing the same premise, but I'm working on a 15-minute bit that I'm trying to put together about that topic. But people don't understand that because you're only getting it in like 5-minute increments. But of the 5 minutes, I'm really only doing 2.5 or 3 that I'm basing everything off of. Because the other part of it, too, is if I'm going up stone cold, I'm also playing with the audience a little bit. I'm doing little tricks to keep them interested when I know it's falling flat.
Right.
So all this shit plays into it. But that's being a comedian for so long, you know how to do it. If you're brand new, it's like, I just fucking hate shit for 5 total minutes.
Yeah.
Like, I feel fucking bad for you, but you'll figure it out.
Right. Well, that's like, I don't know, like gas station lunch and the R. Kelly joke came out of the same skeleton where I was just talking about like, I couldn't, there was like this whole stretch of time where like I just could not get anything sexual to work. I just, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So it came from this point of like almost desperation, and I just started throwing stuff at the wall at open mics, and it worked into that skeleton, that arc of trying to figure out sex, basically, at like 26 years old. No, you know what I mean? Yeah. So then they built off that. It was just, I annoyed people, I'm sure. Like, because I kept showing up and like, hammer through this part, and I got this minute, and then I was like, I got to tell that minute though to work to the next minute. So it was kind of the same 5 minutes every week, but eventually it built into those 2 bits.
Right, and that's a mindful mentality when you're trying to build those things out. You know what I mean? Like, I can completely understand having to work through, 2 to several minutes of material to get to the point and get to the change, get to the build up.
Right. And
it's the unfortunate thing about having short sets. You miss out on a lot of people being able to build stuff that's more narrative based, because like you can get a better laugh from a really good story than you can get from like the majority of one-liners, majority of bits that anybody could ever produce, because a story provides, this is who I am, this is my personality. You're going to go down on the same mentality that I was in, or my narrative distance or whatever, and you're going to get into the point of like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened.
Do you feel, Matt, that you're missing being who you are on stage by being what do we call it? Absurd narrative comic?
Absurd narrator.
Yeah, the absurd narrator, yeah.
Or is that you? Are you getting across, I guess, what you want to? Is this the comic you want to be? And are you completely satisfied with it?
I'm never completely satisfied.
Why?
I mean, if I'm completely satisfied, I'm not, I'm going to get
why do
stagnant.
it?
Yeah.
Hey, relax over there, Centanni.
Yeah.
Saying, but you know what I'm saying? Like, if he just says, like, here I am.
This is exactly how
Yeah,
I'm
but
going to write forever,
okay, But I mean, he knows what kind of comic he wants to be, right? You find your voice. You know who you are. So this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah, I mean, just be like, I like the idea. Like, I'll do storytelling nights and stuff like that are based on funny things I'll tell other people or jokes. Like, I have jokes that are 45 seconds long, which I can fill out into 8-minute stories, and which are funny every minute to 2 minutes within the story. But as a comedian, I'm always trying. I want to figure out, like, the prospect of doing an hour-long set means that I would have to do at least 70 to 80 jokes within that.
Isn't that stressful, dude?
And it is
5. Is that what you said?
Yeah, right. 5 jokes.
5
That's
stories.
right. And it's like the idea of doing, taking my my style and adapting it in some way to be more like narrative based, where like maybe it's not a 5 or 10 minute story, but it being 2 to 3 minutes, extending out what I have that is based on legit story is gonna be beneficial. And I think that I can do that within what I already do. It's just having the length of time, like the other day, I was able to do longer things. They didn't hit as hard as the other stuff, and there's watching my video, there's like minute long lulls in the thing, but then by the time I get to the punchline, people are just dying.
Yeah, they get the payoff.
Yeah, there's a huge payoff. So I'm comfortable with that, so long as it like I know, like on stage, it's a personification of like this idea of like, I want to be very polite, I want to be very proper, I don't want to curse, I want to be very intelligent, I want you to pay attention to exactly every single thing I say. But to keep it the length mentality of like it only being like a 15 seconds to a minute long, I'm okay with it extending out as long as it needs to be, as long as it's good.
How do you go about writing your jokes?
Let's see. I mean, I have Google Alerts for like a ton of different topics. I've been neglecting them recently, but I'll look through that, get the headline, basically just do headline jokes, try and do as many of those as I can. And then the best jokes that I do, the ones that tend to stick around the longest, are based around something stupid I've done or something that I've been like some interaction I've got into. And then it becomes like, okay, how can I articulate that effectively where everybody can kind of identify with it? Like there's got to be like maybe I haven't done that exact thing, but I can, I know how that can happen. Or, it's just got to be just really absurd and kind of like declarative, like this is how this is. So that's like generalizations. Like some of the stuff I'll do is, generalization, based. So.
Okay. I have a question for you that I want you to think about. I'm going to ask Chris something while you're thinking about it, because I want a good answer. You're going on tour. You're in any position, opener, feature, headliner. Who are the two people you're bringing on, and what position are they playing in that tour? All right, think about it. Centanni.
Yes.
When you go to putting together one of your jokes or stories or bits, whatever it is,
Okay.
Along the lines with what Matt said, how are you putting it together? Is it something that you say, dude, this was really funny that happened to me, I need to tell it? Or are you, I don't know, like, for me, I think, like, sometimes you do things just for this, not you, I'm not saying you personally,
right.
But, like, for me, I would say, I'm going to say yes to this so I can do it for the story and hope something funny comes out of it.
Right.
Is that something where you come along into, or are you just like, nah, this happened to me and I think it's hilarious, so I'm going to piece it together? And I don't know, just how does the writing all come together for a story?
Okay, let me see here. The way the way I usually approach like one of my particular stories, like if I'm on stage, is when I first go into writing it, I think about, okay, like it all starts with a nugget of like, wow, that was so dumb, or that was crazy that it's notable. Like I remember it really well, and a lot of it I just try to I find like the theme in it is more. I don't know. I start writing and then I start thinking like, well, this is very specific to me. How can I make it to where I kind of want everybody in the room to have one of two opinions? I either want people who would be way too afraid to tell somebody that happened to them, to be able to
That's a great mentality.
like not live vicariously, but to be able to. It's almost like this is going to be dumb, real dumb what I'm about to tell you. But the first time I saw an article was, do you guys remember when Cloverfield came out?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm friends with the guy that wrote it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Matt Reeves or Drew Goddard? Which one?
Drew.
Oh, Drew Goddard?
Yeah.
I love you. But anyways, I was obsessed with Cloverfield. And like I read this article that was basically like Cloverfield, one theory was that it was a way for people to deal with like terrorism and like the September 11th attacks in like a really safe environment, because you could live through those characters, but also know that like if you were having too much trouble, you could go to the bathroom or get a soda or whatever. So I almost apply that to jokes. Like I want people to be able to come and be like, man, it was so humiliating when that happened to me. That was terrible. It was horrible. I was so sad. Like, and then they can see me do it and be like, oh, all right. Well, like he's way stupider than I am, and like kind of you know what I mean. It kind of
Right, and they empathize. You hit on the empathy.
It's like they can empathize, but I don't want them to feel bad for me. I just want everybody to be like, man, we are all living a ridiculous existence, and so that's how they formulate. Or I want them to be like, wow, this guy is such a fucking loser. I mean, like that's almost the goal, I just want people to either really connect and laugh with it and have it be cathartic, or I want them to just laugh at me. It doesn't really matter to me.
When I do some bits that paint me to be just like a shitty person, like not a terrible guy or anything, but it's like, dude, that's happening, that's embarrassing. I turn to the audience and I'm like, I hope that what you're getting out of this is that you feel better as a person than me.
Yeah.
Because that's what I'm trying to do here. And then everybody's like, oh, okay, cool, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It helps people process, like, because obviously I'm not famous or anything like that, so it's not like people are really like looking up to me, but I'm just saying, if like when people come and they're like, God, I had a horrible week, this was stupid, I hate my boss, I hate my girlfriend's on my case, all this stuff, they're just like, oh, well, this guy knows what's up. Like I just kind of want to be everybody's uncle.
Yeah, but all right, so why do you do comedy, man?
Honestly, comedy first started as a way, I mean this without trying to sound sad, so don't feel sad, but it started as a way for like people to actually pay attention to me, because nobody talked to me. I was just kind of like this weight, but in 6th grade.
No, dude, I get the exact mentality. Yeah.
So I was like, people don't really want to. I don't have a whole lot to contribute. Like I'm not a super interesting person, but if I can make them laugh, they'll pay attention. And then it just kind of became like, this is really fun. Like I like telling jokes because I get to vent out things that would normally upset me, and I get to. It's almost like
it's cathartic.
Yeah, it's kind of unfair to say like I do it very altruistically for people to laugh and forget about their problems, but it's like I'm doing it with them. Like I'm throwing my problems at them, and then when they laugh and whatever, I'm like, oh yeah, it's not that serious. So it's for me and for them, hopefully.
Yeah,
but
very
it's more
much.
for me, selfishly.
That's good.
Were you a class clown? I think I asked you that one of the past episodes.
Honest to God, dude, I think I rarely spoke in high school.
That's a mentality that I think that is a misnomer or misconception about comedians. I think the majority of comedians are like, especially in school, are like just full of anxiety, like just really introverted and like don't know what to do. But then they think about things and figure something out that's really funny, and you do better than the class clown who's always trying to be on, always trying to do it. And then it's like, oh, hey, wow, that was really amazing. Like, that felt so good. I was so funny. And then they try and they obsess about it and use that anxiety to, build into something.
I was a class clown.
Well, I know. It's the two schools to some degree.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but see that's the difference. Though, and I mean this not as a negative. I'm not saying like being a class clown makes you less funny or whatever. But it's your. But if you think about your joke style, you hit a lot of topics, and you just kind of Sometimes you'll be on one topic for a long time. Sometimes you feed off the crowd, it seems like a lot.
Me personally, are you talking about me?
Yeah, you feed off energy.
You feed off energy really well. And like, even if it's bad energy, you'll figure out how to kind of turn it around. Like, you feed off crowds. I don't really. I thought what
crowd's always in your favor, man. I've never seen them not in your favor.
They have been not in my favor. And you know what? I almost embrace it because it's like, some people just aren't going to like you. Like, it's good for me. If I'm telling stories and they hate me, you know what? There's a lot to hate about me in the jokes. No, really, I'm not even mad about it. So that's what I'm saying. It is a difference. Like, I was always very quiet, introverted, wrote it all out in my head, and then decided to tell it.
Exactly how Matt explained it.
Right, and I just decided to spill it out. But you react to what's happening around you.
Yeah, and you know, you say that about me, and it's true, because that's the way it's always been. As the class clown, that's what you do. I would shout out a joke, and then I'd wait and be like, oh, shit. Are people going to laugh? Like, immediately as I say, people going to laugh? And how's the teacher going to respond? 9 times out of 10, the teacher would laugh, too. So I'm like, all right, I got something.
Yeah.
But then that 10th time, I'm like, fuck, I'm in trouble because it bombed.
Yeah. Whereas, like, with me in classes, like, if I was going to say something funny, my anxiety wouldn't be after I said it, because I'm like, oh, like, I would have built it up in my head, like, this is going to be great. It would be, oh, my God, am I going to say this? You know what I mean?
Yeah, here's something crazy with me. I never had anxiety. I was nervous, I guess. I had nerves growing up as a kid, whatever, but never anxiety. And I did stand up right out of the gate, just like you, Matt. So we were young guys getting into it, and I stopped doing it when I was 26. And that's when I got anxiety. For real, like, had to go to the doctor for it.
Yeah.
And I've had it ever since. I take medication every fucking day for it. And even the medication doesn't trump it half the time. When it's like legit, I have to take the stronger stuff to get rid of it. It sucks. And now I got back into it. It's been a little over a year. And the anxiety has kind of gone down, right?
Yeah.
So that's probably where it generated from, is what I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Was the whole missing of me being up on stage and getting it out of my system. Right?
Yeah.
So it's a weird fucking thing, man. But the introverts, they come planning with it, think of all the stuff, and then it's like, boom, I let it all out. I'm almost kind of jealous of that. You guys were sitting there thinking this whole time while I'm blurting stuff out, eating shit half the time in class.
Well, here's and this it kind of brings. I wanted to ask you this.
Yeah.
Do you think? And this is just purely speculation, but do you think that's where a lot of your style comes from? Because you knew you were only going to say one thing.
Oh, absolutely.
So that I think maybe that builds into why he's very like, it's 3, maybe 4 lines, and then he moves to a new topic. Subconsciously, I wonder if that had a part of it.
I think so. It's like it's somebody explained to me. It's it's a humor economy or something like that. I think is the phrase they said. Is if you're going to use this style of comedy, you have to be every single sentence you use has to have a purpose, and if it doesn't have a purpose, you don't need to say it.
Yeah.
Well, that's where I think that makes that kind of comedy, in my opinion, stronger than like storytelling that I do. Because you know how you were talking earlier how people can relate to you more and they'll get a huge laugh, right? It's whatever when you're. But to me, sometimes a story is kind of cheating almost, because it's like you're just telling the joke. There's the punchline. That's the funny part.
Yeah. It's
so you get it or you don't. And like when you have a lot of success, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But like a story, I can tell a punchline that I know is not that strong.
Right.
Because people are on the edge of their seat, like, where is this going? What does he do? You get away with some cheap jokes.
Yeah.
And I know that. But like you probably don't get away with a cheap joke very often.
Yeah. It is definitely harder.
That's why I couldn't do what you do, man. It's the ballsiest thing in the world. To tell that many jokes in that short amount of time is insane, dude. It's insane. And you got to go off of, I mean, literally your material, right? Whereas I'm doing bits, I can make a facial expression and people will laugh.
Right.
I don't have to hit that punchline. If they don't laugh at the punchline, I can make a facial expression and they'll be like, okay.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you really can't do. I mean, you can, but then at the same time, you're relying on that material, dude. What you do is beyond me. It's fucking incredible to me. Like, and same with you, Chris, because I've tried telling stories, and there's times within a story where you go 2-3 minutes of legitimately no laughing because you're setting everything up. Yeah. You're going through the story, and that in my head, and I've tried it before. It's like, fuck, man, are they even still listening?
Right. That's the mentality, definitely.
Yeah.
And that's the, I don't know what you call it. Not like, I guess it's trusting your material.
Right.
But to put it in like the sense like we were talking about, where you think it through a lot before you say something.
Yeah.
When you're in school or whatever, that's kind of what it is to me. I'm working through what's going on in my head, and that is in turn, I don't know if you'll agree with this, but I'm kind of planting how I'm thinking into the audience's head so that they will be on the same page with me when I say the punchline.
Oh, absolutely. I think that's right on point. Like in the storytelling that I've been trying to do and everything like that, it's just getting comfortable with the idea that you're basically investing in the audience and trusting in the audience that they're going to stay with you to this payoff, to this build up. And being like, this is going to work out.
Right.
So I find it is a really good thing. Oftentimes to take, I try and with the storytelling stuff I do, I try and convince comedians to come out and do it, whenever they can, because I've always found nothing happened, people. I've always found that, it helps me, even taking an 8-minute or 10-minute thing, condensing it down to something that's 30 seconds,
right.
Being comfortable and being in an audience that is there to listen to a story as opposed to expecting comedy is amazing and so, liberating, because I can if I record it, I can find exactly why, what's funny, why it's funny, and figure it out from there.
Well, I'm trying to think how to put this. That's kind of like, there's a lot of, it's kind of what I was saying. Like what I think is crazy is that if I broke down my stories into just the punchlines, I'm willing to bet that it would be like half as funny. You know what I mean? And it would be 1/10 as long. But by giving people a context and letting them take the ride with you, they're kind of like pre-laughing.
Absolutely. And the ones that I do that are story-based, I basically, to some degree, try and shock the audience with the circumstance of that story. And then that, to some degree, I think, is kind of cheating to make them feel that mentality of oh, wow, I can't believe he had to deal with that. And then I can jump to the punchline because they're still feeling that anxiety and oh my God, how is he going to get out of that? Okay, but if I built it up, I could build up that same sort of tension and make it even oh my, just rise your shoulders up. But it's a trade-off. It's 100% a trade-off.
It is, and it's different. I mean, that's why obviously that's why you do one, I do the other, mostly because it is. It's a. I don't know how to explain it really, but it is. It's like if I really don't know where I'm going with this 100%, but if I'm telling jokes and like you said, it's cheating. It's cheating in a joke writing sense.
Right.
Because it really is almost to me, storytelling is a whole different beast than comedy is.
Yeah.
Because you can tell a lot of stories that have nothing funny in them. And people will still be invested. And
100%.
People laugh
because it's interesting.
Right.
Yeah.
So the balance here is basically I just make a skeleton and then I try to do what Matt's doing, but I try to put it within the skeleton of the story.
Yeah.
So sometimes it blows up in my face.
Not often, man. I mean, and you said something, too, that when you tell a story, you're along for the ride. Whether it's funny or not, it's interesting enough to capture the audience. The story that you tell with the Dungeons and Dragons thing,
yeah,
it's hilarious. I mean, you do enough in there that people laugh the whole way through. But even if you didn't, you're doing something that either, one, not many people have done, or two, haven't admitted that they play Dungeons and Dragons. Okay? But you're telling this story, so now we're living vicariously through you, through something we've always wondered about, right?
Absolutely.
So if you've never done it, you're wondering, what is that shit really like? And if you have done it and you're not telling anybody about it, it's is he accurate? Did he really do this? And then if you're vocal about it, it's they're the ones laughing in the back, yeah, dude, yeah, you're a loser because you think it's bullshit and it's the funnest thing in the world. You capture the entire audience in that story.
Yeah, but you hit on something here that I hope it doesn't ruin my bit if I tell it again. But there's really not an immense amount of jokes in it.
Right.
The jokes that I wrote were there and they did happen, but it's almost more like people are laughing with me at those people.
And here's a question
It's
for
not
you.
really like a joke.
And I think I tried to ask this, but I didn't ask it correctly. When you put your stories together and you're putting the beats in, right? Are you particularly putting a joke purposely in there to capture the audience and make them laugh? Like you've told it in your head, or do you go on stage and you tell it, you're like, damn, there needs to be a beat in here where I can get them to laugh and keep them intrigued a little bit?
Usually what the way it works for me is I'll just write it down like meticulously. Like the first couple times I write it, I will write every line almost of the story. I write it like a script or like or an essay or whatever. Just write it out.
A monologue.
Yeah, and then what I do, thank you, that's the word I was looking for the whole time. And then, but then what'll happen is I'll think to myself, if I was telling this story, I would not care if nothing happens yet. You know, like if I just keep telling about the 2 or 3 guys that I was hanging out, nobody cares about those guys. They want to know how I felt about it. That's what they're there to hear. So, as arrogant as that sounds.
No, that's like perfect.
And so then I'll throw something there where I'm like, I should probably kind of crack on this guy a little bit or whatever. I should throw something out there. But then I'll tell it on stage. And sometimes people will really pick up on something that I didn't think was going to be funny at all. And then I'm like, okay, well, I'll move that to right there.
And let me tell you something about that. A lot of the way that stand-up is, for most people, Matt, I'm going to take your style of comedy out of it.
Yeah.
All
right.
Because of what you do.
Yeah,
but
I understand you're the guest, but we're going to...
No. Yeah. I'm not.
We have gone to an analytical point where we cannot go back.
Where you are no longer the guest.
Where you were not
We're
important.
talking about comedy, man. We're 3 comics talking about comedy on a comedy podcast. Go fuck yourself. So what I'm saying is, and I'm still trying to get to this point where it's a straight conversation. And if somebody laughs and if the crowd laughs, then it's like, okay, now I'm going to pause for a second and let them laugh before I continue, which happens in your stories. You say something and you just said it. Then the audience starts laughing. It's like, whoa, all right, shit, I didn't know that was funny. I got to remember that for the next time.
Right.
You can't get to the point where you're telling a story, and for me, a bit, and you get to a point where the audience should laugh, and you've planned the laugh.
Yeah.
Because when you get there and you stop, because the laugh's supposed to happen and it doesn't happen, you're fucked.
Yeah, I never.
Yeah.
You bomb the rest of your set. And I think that's petrifying for you, Matt.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Because at the end of your lines, that joke, if they don't laugh, it's like, but you have that, you have the mechanism where it's like, okay, all right,
cool.
We're cool. Okay, moving on. You have that option where we have to keep going. We can't bail on the shit that we've been talking about.
Right.
We have the same
You're
topic
invested.
that we now have to fight through for the next. Chris does it way longer than I do. I have to fight through it for the next couple minutes, where you have to fight through it for 7 to 10 minutes.
Right.
But it's when you get to that point where it's such a conversation and you're talking and the laugh doesn't surprise you, but it also doesn't take from your story where you hit and stop every time.
Yeah.
It's one thing to stop and take a breather and, if you laugh, cool. If you don't, whatever. But you know what I mean?
Well, usually I make sure that I just keep telling the joke. I don't know if it comes off that way, but if the audience forces me to stop talking, then I'll stop.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I just try to keep going.
Right, keep going.
And one scientific thing to do in comedy, this is kind of weird, but it's a proven science.
Get ready to fact check.
When they do laugh at that point in the story, give them that laugh and then say that last line again to get right back into the story. Don't start off somewhere completely new where they stopped you. Go right back, almost like a rewind of 5 seconds, and repeat that sentence again. So when they're done laughing and they hear it again, they giggle and they're right back in, like, all right, what are we listening to again?
That makes
That was
sense.
funny. It's whatever.
No, that makes a lot of sense.
All right, Matt, who are you taking on tour?
Well, I mean, if I was going to go on tour with people, I would say I would want to go on tour with T.J. Miller, Lachlan Patterson, or Mike Birbiglia. I think those would be just...
Dude, Centanni, I know you're going to the bathroom. I'll ask you when you get out. Finish up. Why Birbiglia? Because he's so the opposite.
Well, I mean, one of the things, like, he's one of the comedians that I absolutely, I neglected to mention earlier, but I absolutely adore.
Best.
So good. Yeah. And, even though I'm really different, I just have always really liked him. And I think there's a ton of stuff that I don't know. Like I think that I run into an issue of there's a lot of stories. Let's say, yeah, I guess there are stories that I try and like filter into a regular set or my regular style that just can't get there. Going back to the point of like, if you don't have that, if you haven't built up that tension, you can't get the payoff that you want. And I think that I would just basically be taking notes the whole time of like, okay, that's how he structures that. That's how he structures that. Like always building this new joke. Like that's how he's doing it. And I think that, as time goes on, anytime I listen or watch a comedian, I'm always analyzing him. And he's one of the few comedians where I will just watch it and enjoy it. And trying to like ruin my watching experience to try and figure out how he's such a good comedian. I'm trying to do that, but
doesn't that ruin some shows?
Yeah, 100%. I saw Louis C.K. I was like, okay, that's why he's doing that. That's why he's doing that.
His new special, Live at the Comedy Store, is so good.
I haven't seen it.
You will, and it's fucking awesome.
Oh, sweet.
You worked with TJ Miller, right?
Yeah, a couple times, yeah.
And how did that go? I mean, because you want to bring him, obviously it went well.
Yeah.
Your comedy style with his, you think perfect for a show.
Yeah, I mean, to go to Chris's point there, like of the, absurdist narrative, 100% in that same, in that same circle, his, it's still, mine's a very like a authoritarian, like, okay, this is, I'm more intelligent than you, whatever. And his is like more to the absurdist, a side of it for sure. But I think that would work really well.
Okay. And then Lachlan Patterson.
Yeah. Some of the best notes, some of the most, effective advice I've gotten in comedy has come from him. And I think I just think it'd be amazing.
You go on tour with somebody that's helping you. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Who was the other one?
Mike Birbiglia, TJ Miller, Lachlan Patterson.
Oh, it was those three. Okay, yeah. Centanni, are you a Birbiglia guy?
Yes, because here's why. No, I'll tell you why. I don't like when I watch his stuff. I don't get an immense amount of laughter out of it. Not that I think he's not funny. Like I know he's funny. I just don't like laugh super hard at it. But the amount of learning that I try to do from him is maybe more than any other comic.
And that's why I'm going to bring it up. Birbiglia is.
I think
him and Jim Jeffries to me are the best storytellers in the business.
I think
that's that.
That's true, probably. I can't think of somebody. I don't know. Kyle Kinane tells great stories.
Yeah.
But I also when I was going in there, I heard you say that, and I thought though Birbiglia, especially in, I'm trying to remember what special it was, the one where he had the police report on the screen.
Yeah,
I thought about this, and I was like, really, he's kind of an extreme version of both of our styles, because it really is like a one-man presentation to the audience.
It's a one-man show.
It's a one-man show.
It is. It's like he tells one long story that's filled in with smaller stories, but it's almost to me like his delivery style and stuff is very similar to yours in the sense that it's very like straightforward, almost just factual sounding delivery.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's what when I was in there, I was like, actually, he's kind of just like an extreme of both of our. If you
combined us together, if we did a Saiyan fusion, that's what we would get.
Who's on your tour? Think about it for a second, Matt. With your tour that you put together, comics, I think it's perfect because it's not all the same. Yeah. You don't want that on a tour.
Oh, absolutely not.
Cool.
Yeah.
We got 8 stories tonight for 2 hours. For 3 different people or whatever.
Right.
In your list of the 4, because you have 3 comics and you, what place does each person go?
I'd probably be the host. I would assume. I think.
Don't assume. Dude, if you think you'll be better in another spot.
Oh yeah, no, I'll be host. I'm very confident. But I'd say that probably put up TJ Miller or Lachlan right after that. In the 2-3, flip them around, and then probably Mike Birbiglia at the end.
Yeah, I don't think following Birbiglia would suck.
Yeah, I think that would be way too difficult.
Yeah. And it's not even that, like, dude, he killed the crowd. It's his style would be so hard to follow.
Yeah.
He gets you into his world.
Yeah.
And that's what he does, man. I get lost in his stories.
Yeah.
That even if he tells jokes, I don't care. I just want to hear the rest of the story. Ms. Pat does that. Ms. Pat does her stories on stage, and they're so... I don't know if you guys even know who she is. Not a lot of people know who she is, but her story is fucking incredible from growing up. And so she does it on stage, and you're like, this isn't even funny. Like, I just want to hear the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Because nobody I know has been through this shit. And it's dude, 2 kids by the time she was 15, selling drugs across the street from her kid's school. Dude, it's like, tell me the rest of this, because I'm so far from it that, wow. But then she tells jokes in between. That's what makes her even better.
Right.
It's like, holy shit. Centanni, what do you got? Anything?
I'm kicking some stuff around in my head. Well, no, because there's a couple people that I would want to tour. I'm touring, right? I'm going. I'm not just setting it up.
Yeah, no,
okay.
You're part of it.
I'm going to agree with Matt here. I'm probably going to open the show.
Okay.
And then, honestly, I would do... One person I know would be on the show, and I don't know that people even care about this guy anymore, is Artie Lang.
Everybody cares about that guy. Dude, he's hilarious.
He seems like he's always in trouble or like almost dead. And I mean, I love the dude.
He might not make it through the whole tour.
But that guy informed most of what I'm doing. Like, I don't think I do it as well as him, but I used to listen to him all the time. And be
Did you read his books?
I read them both. I love him. He is just the ultimate, like, he's somebody's uncle. And he's so good at it. And he gets himself in trouble, but... I'd want him to like headline the show.
Yeah?
No, I'd want him to feature the show because you know what I decided? I would want Joan Rivers to headline a show that I did.
That'd be pretty cool.
No, I mean, and the reason I say this is because I never seen a person in my whole life like Joan Rivers who just like, people just hurled shit at her and like literally just like, just bile and just vitriol. They hated everything about her. And she still somehow maintained this level of like, you can't touch me because I'm so funny. Like,
yeah.
Right.
Say what you will, like plastic surgery, her attitude, she did.
But
she
that played into it, and she played into it.
Oh, 100%.
She did. She came off, like sometimes I'll watch her and be like, wow, you're being a real witch right now. You know what I mean? But at the same time, when she got on stage, I doubt there was many people that were funnier than she was.
Yeah.
At a rapid fire rate. I mean, just insane. Something I would never be able to do. That's why I want to tour there. Maybe try to pick that up, even just by chance.
Yeah. People give Roseanne a bunch of shit because of her voice and just who they think she is off of TV. But, dude, if you see her stand-up, she's one of the best stand-ups ever.
Roseanne is great.
Like, incredible.
Put her on that tour, too. Be Joan Rivers, Roseanne.
Well, since Joan's
Artie
dead,
Lang.
Roseanne
can
feature.
headline. No, Roseanne can
she's a
headline.
headliner?
Artie can feature, and then
You're opening?
You know. I'll bring water bottles.
I'll be the
to
PA
stage,
guy.
There you go.
Now coming to the stage.
I'll do the announcements and just bring them up.
Oh, you guys, dude, I can keep this going on forever. Do you guys have somewhere to be?
I'm supposed to go to dinner, and I'm supposed to go to dinner.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
All right, we'll wrap up. Maddie, first of all, thank you so much.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for having me. This is great.
Chris, thank you for coming on co-hosting, taking Nancy's spot.
Yeah, hopefully. She'll be back, everybody.
She will be
you don't
back.
have to deal with it.
Nobody panic. She's going to be back.
This is not going to be permanent for me, so you don't have to worry about it.
Maddie, plug away again where everybody can find you on the internet and everything.
Yeah, I'm at MT Storrs, STORRS. And let's see, Copper Comedy at Copper Blues Tempe on Tuesdays. Pep Rally at Lawn Gnome Publishing in downtown Phoenix on Thursdays. And, check me out on the social media to find other stuff. But then on March 28th, the Storrs Objection at Space 55.
Awesome, man. Centanni?
At Chris Centanni. It's just my name. It's at my name. I'll be there, and then I'll update you with the shows as I remember them.
Awesome.
Sounds like a plan.
Guys, we hope you enjoyed this special episode, and get ready for another new episode coming this Sunday. But until then, have a great fucking time and a great week. See ya.
Hey, you'll listen to another show on the 4Odd Radio Network. For more shows, you can go and check out 4oddradio.com. LSA.